This is awesome.
You ready?
You good?
Hello, everyone. This is my buddy Robert from Sarasota. He's another YouTuber.
Hello, everyone.
Kicking
Rob
butt.
Life here with Dr. Morris, live in the flesh.
Baby. Kicking butt, too, aren't you?
Raw fruit for the win.
Absolutely.
Raw fruit and veggies for the win.
Absolutely. Got his mom fixed up. I mean, he's kicking butt.
Working on my dad. My wife's down.
All right.
Everybody's down.
Cool beans,
my
man.
My sister, my brother-in-law.
Oh, my God.
I have a 6-year-old nephew named Sahar. Hi, Sahar.
Woohoo!
He's definitely down with the program. So
oh, my God.
we appreciate you and love you. Thank you very much.
Here, man.
I appreciate it.
You take care of yourself.
Take care, man.
Say hi to Mama.
All right, YouTube. Take care, everyone around the world and the universe.
Bye-bye now.
Take care,
Thank you, Robert.
All right, nice meeting you, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it, my friend.
No problem.
Thank you. I have a few minutes here I want to spend with you and go over some of these, the latest questions that you've asked me. And, of course, there's a pile sitting here waiting for two, and I know, I'm getting them. You've got about 3 hours coming to you here. You're probably going to get it before you hear this, so apologize that we're 2 people short. They're on vacations, and Mrs. FEMA had to go to FEMA because of the FEMA issue right now. We seem to hire a lot of FEMA people for some reason. I wanted to talk to some of these things. This one lady wrote me, which was interesting, I thought. Quite interesting. She's a nutritionist, and she's trying to tear this up through understanding milligrams of calcium and phosphorus and why fruit can have more phosphorus in it than calcium, and that's why the teeth, probably you lose your teeth. No, that's not why you lose your teeth. I've had a high fruit diet all my life, and especially for the first 15 years, and my teeth is pretty, had nothing to do with my teeth, no changes with my teeth at all. But I do find that interesting that some fruits do have more phosphorus than calcium in it. I do find that. But that's not a negative for me. Now, whether we're looking at fruit that's been, from high nitrogen fertilizers and stuff where they pump these trees up, it's possible. You'd have to go to the tropics and where everything grows naturally and take a look at that, If that was the case where fruits had more phosphorus and that was the reason people lose their teeth, there would be no teeth in primates right now. So I think it's idiocy to even think that way. To myself here, the fact that fruit has some glucose in it, so what? It makes it much better. Now, her one question, and this is the second question I had, and I got to find that article because I don't remember me ever in my entire life stating that vegetables have too much glucose. Only in respect to type 1 would that I ever make that statement. And type 1, absolutely. But that's only how you repair type 1 is to move to the fruit side. You'll get your control of the blood sugar so much easier. Shows the difference between fructose. And again, falling into concepts of fructose has to be changed to glucose crap. That's all crap stuff. It doesn't exist, and this is what you see here. But overdose of glucose, that wouldn't be what I would be referring to. An overdose of glucose would be a piece of bread. That would be an overdose of glucose, not a piece of fruit or a vegetable. A lot of people are into vegetables. And all I can say as a nutritionist, you just go deeper than that. Because if you get lost in the world of chemistry, you're going to still be in the world of theories and stuff. And I think you're wasting your time. I think you really need to just make your life so much more simpler, sweetheart, and get away from this concept because you're trying to tear this up through science, and science doesn't hold the answers for us. Take a look at those people that got rid of vegetables and went on fruit. How come they're getting better? How come I can regenerate man's nervous system? And it might be a clue to you if you understand the frequency difference of glucose and fructose, why fruits are Homo sapien foods in relationship to the Homo sapien nervous system. You have to understand the structural differences of the different species and why foods come differently arranged in chemistry for that particular type of species. And we are the highest neurological species on the planet. No one can tell me about nerve rebuilding because I'm considered one of the better ones in the world, and I can tell you I've rebuilt a lot of nervous systems in my life, and I can tell you can't do it on vegetable matter, period. So thinking vegetables are superior than fruits is ridiculous, especially for Homo sapiens. You might have a point when you come to horses And we raised a lot of horses. And I am in agreement with you on the calcium versus phosphorus. I think the more phosphorus you get, the less calcium you're going to have. I don't see that in fruit. I don't see the fruit pushing calcium out of the body. I just don't see that. I don't see any reason that would exist, to tell you the truth. I have no idea in relationship to that other than maybe more bone matrix. Who knows, who knows, who knows? I don't know. There's some things that you just can't figure out. Using man's limited knowledge of biochemistry and stuff, you just can't figure it out. And if you're going down that road, I think it's a dead-end road, and you're going to get confused more and more and more, and you're not going to get on the proper diets because it doesn't dictate properly, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I hear this all the time from nutritionists. I hear it from the American Dietetic Association that has no concept of chemistry. But even looking at chemistry, I can't tell you. I can just tell you in clinical practice what you see, the differences you see, so I don't really care. Because outside of that, you're lost in your mind, and the more you're lost in your mind, the less spirituality you can claim. So the more you use thought processes, the less you're at home, you know. And this is the other side of life, is you and spirituality and who you are. This is just simple getting your body healthy. If you get too lost in that, this is what's happened to man. He went the wrong way. You have arguments over high protein diets and all these things like this, which is insane. You don't see any health coming from these type of diets. Yet there's health people out there pushing high proteins. But you don't see health from that. So I don't understand where these people get their information other than the mind and intellectualism and science, which is sometimes very ignorant. Remember, it was science at one time that said the world was flat. Okay? So get your head out of science a little bit and get your head in nature and observe nature. Get out of the thought processes, and you'll be happier in your life and you'll feel better. And look at all the YouTubers that are proving over and over and over and over and over again about the difference between the high fruit levels. Acquiring properly grown fruits and picked ripe fruits, to me, is more the question. Now, this is something I just, let me see here. This is, she's a therapist. This is about HIV. I have studied Dr. Richard Schultz, another go-getter, man. Finding your videos, da-da-da-da-da. Always, I just thought I would email you. Oh, thanks, honey. The AIDS and the AIDS thing was a big fat lie, too. I just firsthand, as I have been helping a friend get his HIV status taken off his medical record. The tests mean all, and they have never isolated the so-called virus. The whole damn thing is one big fat genocide of gay men and those of black African genes. Whoo, boy, that's a mouthful. I can only tell you, man, this world is so messed up in these kind of ways. I mean, I was Dr. Wallach or one of them in his Emerging Virus book. Have you ever read The Emerging Virus? It wasn't Wallach, it was Horowitz, I think it was. But he traced the creating of these viruses, particularly the Ebola and the HIV virus, to Bethesda's Air Force Base. Had a paper trail, too. Pretty good when you have a paper trail. I just think that, you know, our governments have been involved in germ warfare and all these things and creating these viruses. Even Jesse Ventura, yeah, I guess that's his name, had a segment on viruses up in New York and that island where they were doing all these experiments with these virals, and especially with the, I think he was talking about the tick bite and the and Lyme's, and that was a created viral. I don't know. I believe it. Okay, but it's this man in his, I don't know what it is. You know, it's an untrained mind, an undisciplined and untrained mind, and therefore the thoughts are more of conquering others and stuff instead of spirituality and enjoying the beauty of everyone and the beauty of differences and the beauty of the planet. It's a fight to who's the best. And that's a very immature ego, that sort of thing. The forces are a little out of balance, in my opinion, that's controlling these things. This is Talk Solot. Sounds like me. Hypothyroid, Dr. Morse. I really appreciate your educational series. Thank you so much there, dear. I would like to know if you can do a series on thyroid health. I have been diagnosed as a hypothyroid and am having major endocrine gland dysfunction due to my thyroid. I have had a prolonged bleeding of the uterus, which has resulted in iron anemia, etc. I have been told that this condition requires hormones, but I am unwilling to take hormones. Is it possible to restore the thyroid without hormones? Mia. Hey, sweetheart. Mia, you know what? This sounds not just thyroid. Thyroid doesn't control them all, but the pituitary does. And it sounds like you've got a pituitary problem here affecting menses too. And that would be your pituitary causing this problem, Mia. So you'd have to look at that. I would be suggestive that the pituitary is the problem. Now when you see glands or organs having a problem, what's up with that? I mean, what is an organ and gland made of in the first place? Cells, right? And what else? Two fluids? Absolutely. If you want to combine your interstitial with lymph, which is just as simple and easy to do. So you've got these two fluids, and you've got a bunch of cells. Now, when you have a bunch of cells, their health depends upon these two fluids, correct? In other words, a cell in the thyroid is no different than a cell in your brain, that's no different than a cell in your ovary, which, no different than a cell in your heart. All right? What's up with that? What do these cells require? Well, we know they require carbon and oxygen, number one. And then when you get into the world of nutrition, you're kind of into the worlds of theories and what you should have and shouldn't have. So you have a lot of chemists making a lot of isolate formulas, which is vitamin and mineral formulas. And we've just gotten off the beaten path that way. I think more aptly, detoxification is more the answer because everybody's tried the nutritional side, load up on nutrition and everything, but it doesn't take, that's okay for the blood and getting nutrition to cells, but that's really the minor problem that people have, and a very easy one to correct because all you have to do is shift your diet to at least predominantly raw, at least 70-80% raw. Pop yourself a super green drink or blend like our superfood blend, and you've got all the nutrition you're looking for. You don't have to study years of nutrition to know the calcium phosphorus balances because they're changing. There is no such thing as static issues. Everything is always in flux. Chemistry is constantly in flux. So to make a statement that you need X amount of this, you need X amount of that is bullcrap, in my opinion. And you just eat and be happy and enjoy the now. And your body will get very, very healthy. If you burn all this energy and thought processes, you'll wear yourself out and you'll never find the answer. And you'll lose your happiness because the answer is just around the corner. It eludes you because there's another component to it in creation. Oh yeah, this thing doesn't stop. There is no end. So this is part of the problem there. Keep your life simple and you'll be happier, guaranteed. I tried that route and I left it so many years ago I don't even want to think about it anymore because it's counterproductive. The more you let things pull you away from what you know to be true, it's counterproductive for you, and the mind will love to do that. The mind is creation. It's what makes and controls creation. And the more that you use it, the less you're you. The more you seek security and you become codependent on things because you're not whole anymore. You're so used to your bodies that you're never home with yourself. So when you're alone and home with yourself, it's scary because you don't know who you are. And this is the biggest problem man faces. He spends too much time outside of himself chasing rainbows or chasing calcium and phosphorus down the road. And you don't have to do that. It's a no-brainer, and it never ends in anything but confusion anyway. And it's better just to simply look for foods that are raised properly, the soils are taken care of. If you want to eat vegetables over fruit, have at it. When you plateau, though, in your health issues, know that you can just trip to the fruits and berries and melons, and you're going to go right on down the road much faster. Proven. I'm not, you YouTubers have proved that to the world. So that's not even worth discussing anymore. So Mia, if your thyroid is low, what makes a thyroid low? Well, obviously, it isn't the blood problem, right? Because when you see problems with thyroid, you see goiters, you see nodules. What system would goiters and nodules be a part of? Yep, the lymph system. And that lymph system is key. So when you're having problems up here, go for that. Go get and detoxify your body and grab that lymph system. Now, you made a comment about the female side and excessive bleeding. Pituitary. And this pituitary does mess with all your other glands. So my suggestion is that your lymph system's backed up. If you have any sinus problems, things like that. When the sinus is gooped up, so is everything else in the head. The thyroid, the voice box, everybody gets congested, and it suppresses the the function of cells. Let's say that I took a normal breathing person and I put a heavy blanket around them and wrapped a heavy blanket around them, and I said, now breathe good. It'd be exceedingly difficult to get oxygen and to get health to that person so they'll sustain, because you've wrapped them with a blanket so they can't get air in. Well, what's a big thick wad of mucus do around cells? Well, after a while, a cell can't empty into the lymph system anymore, and now you have intracellular acidosis. That's the damaging side of that. Outside of that, it's just inflammation because it's outside of a cell. And remember, the cell wall is full of HDL, and then you have the lymph fluids. So cholesterol is all there to help people. That's all set up as a system. So really, I would, and the same thing with the pituitary. Lymph. This is where I would use glandulars or your herbs. Either way, you can use either one. I do have a pituitary formula coming out. I'm anxious to see how that works, to tell you the truth. But there's nothing any quicker than the glandulars. They're real quick. So it sounds to me like I'd focus on my pituitary and pick up that thyroid. You might also want to look at your skeletal system, see your fingernails, bruising, easy, varicose veins, spider veins, because this would be the parathyroid. And it is possible that the pituitary can impact the thyroid and not the parathyroid, of course. Anything's possible. In the strange and wacky world of hormones and steroids and the whole world of the body physiology, anything's possible, especially when you're looking at people that have been eating wrong for generations. And you can say what you want, but this planet, we're a certain species, and this planet has its temperate zone. So, I understand why man migrated, but it still wasn't to his benefit. Now we have to go back and adapt ourselves and adapt the planet to us, which means we need greenhouses and we need a lot of fruit trees. But work that way, dear one, and see how that does me. Get on a detox, clean up your bowels, and remember, if you are having thyroid problems or pituitary problems, the chance that you're having transverse colon problems simultaneously is very high. So you always want to fix up the GI tract, get on the GI broom, get the kidneys and adrenals online, because you got to grab all the way up here and start cleaning this upper part of your body out, lymphatically speaking. And the fruits are going to be the best to do that, and the berries and the melons. Again, sounds like more pituitary, Mia, than it does thyroid, and that's one area you'd want to look. The eyes would tell you real quick if it was your pituitary over your thyroid. And we're going to have a few more eyes to do here, so probably this week sometime we'll do it, and I'll try to keep in the back of my mind to show you the transverse colon and why we say that and what we see. If I got enough good eyes here to do that, I'll do that for you. Thanks for the question, dear. This is raw consciousness. I love it. Irregular menstruation problems. Here we go. It sounds like that we're dealing with that female side today, and we're dealing in pituitary problems. Seems to be a common problem nowadays because the colons are common problems. And I can only tell you, our assumption of Dr. Jensen and N.W. Walker and myself and others consider that embryonic trunk, the gut, to be a very electrically, even though, you can have a tumor and not feel it, so the nervous system isn't everywhere, but I also feel that it's like an electrical center where that when you eat living foods, the magnetics translates to the nervous system and feeds the related areas, because almost all of us that looked at iridology and even N.W. Walker really felt that the colon had a symbiotic relationship, because in embryology and the embryonic trunk of the gut and the spinal column is where your organs and glands came out mostly. So there is this relationship, and I think it's also an electrical relationship. That's why the importance of living foods, to transmit that electricity and that magnetics from those foods. And they're not just magnetically alive for nothing. Now, I mean, that's, of course, what makes it its shape, its size, its smell, and its chemistry. Now, hi, I'm writing this for my sister. I am her brother. Good brother. Good brother. I am French-Canadian, so I apologize for the bad English. Heck, I think where I come from is it's the honey boo-boo places. So there is no proper English. I've talked to a lot. My grandmother was a teacher, and man, she thought there was proper English. Boy, she's 24. She has problem irregular menses, last from 32 to 60 days. Holy crap, yeah, you've got to stop this. She just had a newborn 2 weeks ago. She has pain in kidneys and stomach when she is in her period. Well, again, you guys know, above everybody else on the planet, you're in the end, I can tell you, it's the kidneys. Someone asked me this again about, to explain how the kidneys tied to the lymph system. Good question. You guys explain it to me and then we'll all know. Because most of the charts, and we found this in the other class that we had, most of the lymphatic charts won't show the lymph system to the kidneys for some reason. Why wouldn't you? They don't even show the lymph system in the kidneys. Why wouldn't you? You know, so I can just tell you that there is a major duct to the kidney, has to be, because the kidneys are the eliminating organs of the lymph. If you don't want to believe it, you go right ahead and do what you want to do. I've had 40 years of working with this, and I can tell you, just had a case, Jennifer was showing me this poor soul, bile duct blockage, we think, real serious bloating, jaundice and everything. Well, overnight, we've had castor oil packs, we had all the kind of things going on. Well, a large dead worm came out this morning, a big glob of gunk came out of this person this morning, so they've opened up their blockages. But boy, let me tell you, I forget where I was going with that, but let me see. Oh, kidneys, kidneys, kidneys. The kidneys are the kings of this issue, believe it or not. And if you don't, okay with me, I think what we have to do is revisit physiology and anatomy and take a little bit better look at lymph drainage and stuff in the body, because I can guarantee you, and oh, I know what I was going to say, back to this person, they finally felt a real kind of pain in the kidneys, and then a whole wad of sediment coming out. So this is good, and you'll start to see that filtration again. And when you do, how interesting is you see the lymphatic signs going away, like tumors and pain and all the other stuff. How interesting. So all I can say is that the skin is the third kidney. You have kidneys, they eliminate waste to the outside world, and those wastes do not circulate in your bloodstream. To throw acids in the blood and to think that your body's going to get rid of, convert all acid chemistry to base is also stupid. I don't know where that would even come into play, because that's obviously not even close to true. So you have a lot of this, and all I can say is keep your life simple. Doesn't matter. We're about health. We're about detoxification to get to that world of health. And so we know the detoxification because we're the kings at it. All I can tell you, and the regeneration we see on the other side is phenomenal. I love the herbs with that. I agree. And yes, they are more vegetables. Now, this your sister here, my friends, got to fix her kidneys and fix herself up here a little bit. Now that she's not breastfeeding, I'd actively detoxify myself here and get my system. I've got a bleeding formula. It's called bleeding. If I was her, believe it or not, I would probably use that until I got my pituitary. It sounds like her pituitary's out of whack here. She's having problems with her stomach here. Well, a lot of people point to the stomach, but they're actually pointing to the transverse colon. And that would be in the area where the pituitary ranges off of the transverse colon, would be in the stomach, what would be perceived as the stomach area. So it could be very much so that this lady is having very severe problems in the transverse bowel, which has kicked up the pituitary, which is now slamming her menses. So I would use the bleeding formula, which will stop, it'll slow down her monthly cycle big time. It's for internal bleeding, even for women that bleed too much. I would definitely go in that route to keep my iron up and everything up. At the same time, I would definitely be detoxifying, cleaning up my head and everything else, and I'd be taking something something for my pituitary. Even if you did the female reproductive formula, that brings that sort of thing into balance. That's why I made that formula. Good formula for bringing excessive bleeding and estrogen dominance into balance. It's a progesterone formula more, and I would do that in that way. I'm sorry for going so fast with you guys a lot of times, and I apologize for that. I find myself so busy now, trying to get to all your questions that I'm kind of going faster and faster, and I hope I'm not going too fast for you. I'm one of those old thinker dudes here. Now, this guy writes something, and this is interesting. MERSELOUS. Hey, man. No, I wasn't talking about genocide of babies and stuff like that. We're just producing too many mutants, and it's just because of the health of people. And when you take a look at our population problems, we have serious problems. So it's not about genocide or nothing. This is about thinking properly. A lot of people have a lot of problems with abortions and population controls and things like that. You got to get real. There's a point where people and the humans on this planet have to get real. And it's not about genociding anybody. It's just taking proper cautions. If you want to have children, wait. And make sure you can afford it. Make sure there's a place for them to be in the future. Right now, these poor kids are in trouble. I'm thinking of the kids we already have. So we have serious problems here. And this is not about genocide or nothing, bro. I'm not into that kind of thinking at all. That's the World Health Organization that's into genocide, let me tell you, in ways that probably let your hair raise up on your head. The World Health Organization, to me, has never been up to anything good. They kiss the World Bank. They're all buddies. And I don't see anything there that would be that. But I am about proper thinking. If you're a poor family and you're going to have 4 kids, you better rethink that. Because it isn't, we got to get out of that codependency on governments and things like this and change the way we think and get excited over going out and being an entrepreneur and going out and do that. You're going to have to do that in today's world. So we have to raise superior children and healthy children. And there's nothing wrong with that thinking, no matter who thinks it. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong because look at China. When they had too many babies, the government stepped in. Well, we don't want that. We don't want anything like that. So it's up to us as individuals to be prudent in our thinking and realistic. Not to carry some kind of war about religions and babies and things like this. It has nothing to do with that. It's being realistic. If you look at animals that overpopulate, they end up disappearing off the planet. So I'm just saying, it has nothing to do with that. I have a heart that's pretty big, man. I wouldn't think of that. Now, this is Michael. After my body recovers from the buzz of having a few drinks, I am left with an edgy nerves sensation that keeps me up at night. The sensation is subtle, yet seems to be slightly coming from the chest. It makes me want to take large, deep breaths. I make herbal tea with reishi to ease myself. I have been pushing as much fruit as possible, working on my GI, and taking your herbs. I didn't notice this until after working with the herbs. Well, I can just tell you it sounds like a neurotoxic experience, to be honest with you. Now, the only neurotoxic herbs that if you had too much of lymph node 2 capsules, that's when you're going to feel the kick. Because lymph node 2 capsules is stronger than I even dreamed. So I'm taking it off the market right now because it's just too strong. We want strong, but we don't want too strong. So that's the thing. But are you washing your fruit real good? Because it sounds like pesticides or herbicides. This is a neurotoxic experience, or what's happening is he's pulling that inflammation out of your kidneys, and your blood pressure's going real low, and you're fighting to breathe. Remember the 3 pulses right here. The 3 fingers on the pulse line here to your pulses come up. If you're having a hard time taking a breath, use your 3 fingers right over your pulses here, and your 3rd finger over the first one you feel closer to the wrist, and just hold it there until you feel your pulse coming up and pounding better. stop and go to the other side and do that one. You're picking up your adrenal function. And it could be that. A lot of times people have so low adrenals that when they start cleaning up the kidneys, they start experiencing these low blood pressures and from the kidneys or from the adrenals. If that's not it, then it sounds like neurotoxins. Either we're cleaning some neurotoxicity out of you and you're exposed and now you're feeling that, or there's pesticides, herbicides somewhere there. Our herbs are all organic, so or wild crafted. So if I ever found something not like that in my herbal formula, that herbal company wants to move real quick. Now, I have been, let me see here. I stopped taking the adrenal formula because of this. Now, that could have been a little strong on you. Hard to say. Generally, it's a lower adrenal function, like real low blood pressure. That's low neurotransmitters. That would translate to low nerve response and therefore breathing. That's the autonomic nervous system again, and that is tied to the adrenals. When the adrenals are low, this is when people get shortnesses of breath, or when they get to neurotoxicity. They get that, I want to take a deep breath type of feeling. That sounds a neurotoxicity there. I'm taking Parasite MG, Kidney, Upper Circ, and I also on adrenal and lymph when I noticed this issue, but have since ran out. I am a 29-year-old male and have no major issues. Good deal, man. My goal is to stop my thinning hair. Well, that's lymph again. So again, you're in the right thinking of moving your lymph there. Remember, clean up your bowels, get on the stomach and bowel, maybe use the GI broom and clean up, just like we were talking about the lady here with the possible pituitary issue. You got to get up in here and drain that lymph, clean up the bowels and everything to do that, Michael. So, good job, man. Yeah, I mean, I would have put off the adrenals and muscle test yourself with these formulas and see how you muscle test. If you muscle test weak with a formula, then, you know, maybe that formula wasn't good for you at that moment. Muscle testing is a good way to determine with whatever you're consuming or whatever you're in contact with is going to make you stronger or weaker. It's just all physics, and be a good way to take a look at that. But it does sound like neurotoxin. And the other problem with detoxifying people with high neurotoxins is sort of things like this. They can re-experience some symptoms they had maybe years ago. And neurotoxins are way out there. They're all over the place. Some chemist was in the other day, said there's probably over 2,000 neurotoxins. I believe it. Okay, this is Lisa. Lisa. Hi, Lisa Perry. This from Australia. It would be better if you were overseas. Don't order from the website. Call Jenny or call the staff at the pharmacy and order from the pharmacy. Your rates will be better. You know, when you're doing these programs on the internet, they're not all good. You know, we've searched and searched and searched for the best shopping carts you could get to not overcharge people. We're not into that thinking now. So we're always looking to help save people money somewhere. But I'll say this, on these kind of orders, call in here and you'll get it right to the penny, and she'll help you in ways that would be good for you. I don't know, you know, they can help you with the customs side of this. And we ship to Australia all the time. So, as far as I know, so contact her, sweetheart. Now, let me see here. This lady is a massage therapist. She's a shamanic Reiki practitioner. I like that. So she's a real high soul, really intuitive and everything. And you are, sweetheart. You are radiant. And you just get your body healthy and radiant. You know, you become more radiant the more God-absorbed you become, because you become the light itself. If you want to be radiant, be radiant. In other words, be the light of God itself. Give love. Don't get rid of the mind. The mind is what takes down the radiance. It's an obstruction to the flow of consciousness. However, it's good when you want to go somewhere, or you want something, or you want to play in creation. Be careful about the traps that the mind offers you, and the ego comes right with it. So be careful with that side of life. If you can play with the mind and the ego and things and not be trapped, okay, but just be cautious. That's the tool they use to get you. I'm just saying. Gets me all the time. I am so passionate about my work. Sounds like it, sweetheart. Sounds like you're a real God lady, and would love to teach others about your healing philosophy. My husband has just been diagnosed with melanoma stage 1. Now, melanoma, skin cancer, I tell you, it's all lymphomas. So get his lymph system moving. And if he's got a little melanoma anywhere where you can get a salve to it, you can pop that with a salve. But if it's deeper in, detox is really the only way to get into the subcutaneous tissues and things like this. I would do hot and cold showers. I would definitely pick up on those kidneys and adrenals, hit that lymph system, clean up the bowels, and your husband will get rid of that melanoma. Or should I say acids tied in with the skin and the lymph system. We're not talking about diseases. And of course, we are currently now doing the Move Your Lymph mantra. You guys are good. I love you guys. It feels good to embrace spirituality and health and all that together. And it doesn't matter what religion you're from. We got to get away from this judgment crap and just love everything and God and yourself and get to know who you are. Spend some time alone. Get reacquainted with the being that you are as opposed to the thought processes that you use. Because we identify a lot with our creation instead of with who we are. And this is the things we have to learn how not to do if you want to have a higher understanding of how life works. You can't be out playing in the grass and down in the dirt and trying to get into minerals or digging into genes and trying to find the answer, because you'll just keep getting more lost, as you see the AMA is. And the further lost they get, the worse they can happen, because now you're getting into deadly chemicals to try to make up for ridiculous concepts and things like this. KATIA. I'm currently going through a healing crisis. I am actually waiting for it to show up since I have been taking your herbs for a good month now. I have a rash all over my body. The skin is the third kidney. Absolutely. You guys are good, especially on both upper thighs. My right palm is itchy. Also, the right toes are itchy, and right lower abdomen has some reoccurring pain. How long will the rash last? That's one question I have a hard time answering, dear, is how long these healing crises last. You have two choices. You can stop it or you can kick it up another notch. Me, I prefer to kick it up another notch, but sometimes people get rashes head to toe. I had an emergency call this morning of a young fella out of Michigan who had itch so bad he couldn't stand it. And his doctor, which uses our formulas, told him to call us. Well, you know, this is fungus. We're all so full of friggin' fungus, and it can really get the itching and affect the nerve endings and stuff. So you might want to take a nerve formula like Brain and Nerve 2 while you're going through with this. Use Parasite M, of course, to really hit the body with that and move those limbs. Absolutely, absolutely. Is there an absolute no-no during this period? No to certain foods or cosmetic product? You know what? I think we all just get used to getting the purest stuff we can. Our pharmacy tried that, and of course when we order something, Brenda sees it, she orders it, and it gets it in. That's when we find out whether it's good or bad. Generally, they don't tell you in these catalogs when you're ordering products. And so things sound good, and so you order it in, and whoops, there's something in there that normally we wouldn't put in something. We like the purest of the pure like you guys do. In a practitioner-based, it's really hard because some of us were lied to from standard process labs. They certainly have gone downhill tremendously, in my opinion. When you can't guarantee your products like that to be organic and all that, then I have no business with you. Further, I'm not into isolates. We need holistic labs to get into whole food products and things like that. But, you know, I don't know. It's happening. I think you guys are going to be the most powerful group of people on the planet that's more responsible for changing the consciousness of this planet than it has ever had. And I'm real proud of you guys, and it's important that we do that. We're like this nutritionist. We're lost too much and trying to figure things out intellectually, and you can't do it. I guarantee you, my mind isn't a stupid mind, and I can tell you, I have a mind like that, and I don't forget. I can pack things together for years, but I can only tell you that you'll come against a wall eventually, and you've wasted years of your time, and just not worth it. Not worth it. Doesn't matter. Eat your food. Let your food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Why are we squabbling over fruits or vegetables? I don't really care unless you're detoxing. And only you can experience the difference. And even with this nutritionist, try a vegetable detox. And then when you plateau out, try the fruit detox. Many of you already had and made statements on it. Big difference. Recently, I experienced a very intense spontaneous healing crisis. Yesterday morning, I woke up with an upset stomach. As the day progressed, this intensified to nausea, pains, and aches, and a fever. I'm used to experiencing healing crises when on a detox, yet I am not on any form of detox. In fact, the night previous, I had 2 beers and some French fries. Well, that might be why. I mean, you know, when you're doing good, you know, what's surprising is that all of you that are doing really well, and even this chap here, Mark, but you do well, and then you come off and on and off, and that's kind of common. I mean, we all play with that once in a while. Nobody needs to beat anybody up for that. I have due respect for all of you when we go up and down. It's just nature. That's because of the mind and the emotions and the memory patterns. Wasn't for those would be a problem. But we have those tools that keep getting in our way. Got to know how to use those tools properly and put them away when you're done using them, if you know what I mean. Now, you could have been, you know, working on your health, and then you pulling your body right up to a detox, but never did. Then the beer and the French fries, that was it. That was bam, and your body went right into a healing crisis. Even eating bad can trip you into a healing crisis, especially when you're used to eating fairly good. So I want you to think about this. There's two times when you're going to feel the same symptom. One when you're creating it, and 2 when you're eliminating it. Same symptom. And that's what freaks out the medical doctors. I can have someone on scleroderma, which is just the suffocation of the human body by scarring. High acidosis. I can take someone with severe scleroderma, back them up, they get better, and just before they're getting the final out, they'll go into one that feels like their same symptoms are raging. They go back and the same symptom. I've seen that with MS. I've seen that with a lot of problems. The symptoms come roaring back and then gone. And then gone. Friggin' amazing. Body's amazing. I don't know what to say. These are observations we've made, and I think our group is a group that shares observations, because biochemistry isn't the answers. We've got to share observation, because observation is a higher way of looking at what is. Because who are we to declare what is? There's too much to God. There's too much. You couldn't possibly. The mind has no capacity to come close to the infinite. So we have to become the infinite ourselves, eh? Makes sense to me. How do you do that, though? Well, you can't perceive yourself as a limited being, can we? And the only way you can do it is obviously stop using limited tools to identify with. Mind, ego, emotions, to name a couple. All right, Mark, so I don't know, man. You know, you could be any way like that, you know. Fact is, your body didn't like what you had the night before. I'm vegan and eat plenty of raw fruit and vegetables throughout the day. Well, that's probably what happened. You're getting healthier, my friend, and your body goes, nope, I don't think I'll have these today. And it just tripped your body into that. The fever came up, and you're lucky you didn't throw up, but maybe you should have, you know, who knows. So it's just that type of thing. Keep cleansing the body out, my friend, and go down the way. I'm end of my time here. Here's another question. What is your opinion about cold showers? Hot and cold, really good. Hydrotherapy, hot and cold is good. Absolutely. You use kelp powder in your formulas, but I am getting a bit concerned about the radioactivity in the oceans. How about on the planet, period, sweetheart? Absolutely. Is there an alternative for iodine or calcium? Well, it's on all foods to different degrees. It's just that when you have thyroid problems, the seaweeds are the better ones for sure. Do you have any knowledge about protecting yourself against electromagnetic radiation from cell phones, Wi-Fi, and etc.? Well, we used to have these chips around here. Kathy used to sell them. I don't know if they're still here. We had them plastered on everything. I don't know what to tell you. We are seeing a lot of tumors behind people's ears now, so I don't know. You know, I can just say that we're seeing that. Whether that's related or not, I couldn't be factual, but certainly the last few studies have been highly suggestive of this. The raw food movement is totally into superfoods like powdered acai, goji berries, maca powder, bee pollen, etc. What do you think about these superfoods? Superfoods, they're all superfoods, but the goji, all berries are good. Blueberries, blackberry, they're all good. They're all great. Just because they're islands and we don't see them around here and we bring them forth and try to put them in an MLM, which gives you 10% juice. So there's a acai in with about 10 other fruits, and that's only 10% of the drink, and you're paying $35 for the drink. I think MLMs are rip-offs to people. I don't think we have to go there. If you have a product, have a wholesale, have a retail, have something in between if you want, like we do, to help people, and just work that way. But MLMs are just the biggest rip-off I've seen. A lot of practitioners make a lot of money, but I don't have anything that I do MLM. I will not be driven by money. No way in hell. Oh, anyway, nowhere in heck. I love you guys. You have a fun day. I don't think this one's going to get up till tomorrow because we're so busy. Everybody was off yesterday but me, and I had clients in here. I think you met one over the YouTube. So it's a great day. You have fun, get to know yourselves, and enjoy and bask in nirvana. That means happiness, joy, and love. And we'll talk to you soon.